We will be going into closed session to discuss Personnel Government Code 54957, conference with legal counsel, anticipated or existing litigation, Government Code Sections 54956.9, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Sections 54947.6, graduation requirement waiver, California Education Code Sections 51225.3, and pupil discipline, California Education Code Sections 48918/35146. Off to close, we should go at this time.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
On a motion by Nanette Walker and seconded by Bonnie King, the Board of Trustees agreed to a settlement with the Public Employees Relations Board, OSTA versus OUHSD. On a vote of 4-1, Mr. Damon opposed it.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of the agenda variance? It's an amended PAO.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing, none. Recognitions and presentations, Prospect High School. Matt?
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see you all. I'm here to talk about how things are going at Prospect Community School this year. We've got currently 109 students at Prospect. 14 of the students are in the study program, but also Prospect High School students. And we've got 15 students that are in our community school. Some recognition for things that the students have done in the first block, which is the first 6 weeks of the school year. We had 16 students academically earned 15 or more credits in those 6 weeks to be part of the principal's honor roll. And we had 17 students that were on the honor roll with at least 12 and a half credits. So many had more than that. Pretty successful first block by the standards in past years. We expected a little dip in block 2. We didn't see much of one though. Our principal's honor roll, we had 18 students that had 15 or more credits, and we had 10 students that had 12 and a half or more credits. So we will be celebrating with them in the next few weeks after we get back from our vacation, coming up with Thanksgiving break, our week off, and we'll be doing block awards. It'll be our third block award or second block awards for this year with our students to celebrate. And some things that they get a chance to earn, and they get always a chance to choose, as they got school gear, hoodies, beanies, t-shirts, gift certificates to local establishments, and they get to choose those things. Yeah, snacks, we'll talk about with our PBIS here in a second, and the number of PBIS Panther Bucks that we give out to students. We've had a pretty busy school year up to this point. When we met in August, when we talked about our kickoff of the year, we talked mostly about PBIS and talking about school-wide expectations for students. We did 3 days of training with students. In September, we had a Native American Day at the school site. We had groups from Butte College come over. We had several groups locally that came over, and students were involved. They helped kind of lead some of our students and staff through hand games, and fry bread was made by staff members, and it was great. We had fry bread, Navajo fry bread tacos. It was great. It was a good experience. Mr. Devine also brought some students of ours to Butte College with the Native American trip, along with Los Plumas and Orville High School students. We had a back to school night, which we combined with the Wellness Expo. So we had about 12 or 14 different groups come through. Students had an opportunity to go to all these different groups and kind of get stamps. After they learned a little bit about each of the different groups that were there, there was Butte College, there was Axiom, Boys and Girls Club. There was a ton of them that were there. So it was a great experience for the students. And then when we also combined that with the back to school night barbecue for the families and our students. So we'll definitely do that again. Some other things in September, we did suicide prevention and awareness. We had advisory presentations on suicide prevention. Butte College field trip, which was the child development program, went to Butte College, and they kind of took a look at what was going on at Butte College and some classes around child development. We had advisory presentations around some data that we had looked at with cell phones and motivation. So our advisory periods are 1 day a week at Prospect, about 25 minutes. And during that time is when they give the presentation on cell phones and how connected people, especially students, are to cell phone and all the apps that come with it. We also did some more training on PBIS, did some expectations with students just to make sure that it's not just something that's posted on the wall, that we talk about what it looks like to be safe, responsible, and respectful in many ways. So that was a busy September and October. We did crisis prevention for training that was hosted by Dr. Willenberg. All 3 school sites had people show up for that training. We did mental health and suicide prevention lessons. That was Red Ribbon Week. Also, our staff and students, all students at both at Prospect and Community Day School, had some training around harm reduction when it comes to drugs and alcohol. So that was from the Northern Valley Harm Reduction Coalition. There was also some classroom presentations on healthy relationships from the domestic violence awareness programs. We also had a presentation on homeless and foster youth to our staff. So we were aware in Butte County, it was put on by Butte County Office of Education trainers. So we were aware many students are doubled up right now. We're finding in our community, but especially at Prospect and CDS. And if they're doubled up, that they're also considered part of the homeless McKinney-Vento. So we're really doing our due diligence, tracking down which students are homeless or having struggles. And we got some really great training from BCOE on that. So it would help us make sure we're in compliance, making sure that we're identifying students correctly and families. We also met with Thrive, the group that was brought in to talk about reimagining schools, student staff participation. We had trauma-informed practice training for our social worker and one of our targeted case managers at the school site at Chico State. We had a CDS outing, so not just students that were expelled or stuck over in community day school. They had an outing if they had a certain amount of attendance, percentage of attendance. Also, their behavior was good. They took a trip into Chico. They went to the Chico Disc Golf, Skyway Golf, had lunch, all paid for by the school and by the staff that were involved with it. Shady Creek, we had 7 students from Prospect were Shady Creek counselors. Also around career, kind of our vision. Career day presentations. There were career class mock interviews where students were kind of judged, quote unquote, judged by their peers on what it looks like to interview for a position, and got some peer critiques. We've been doing a lot of college financial aid senior meetings. This year we're required to meet with all students that are seniors regarding the FAFSA. Students can either opt out or we help guide them through the FAFSA process. Our counselor, Autumn McIntosh, has been doing a great job calling students in, getting that done. Halloween was very, very much student volunteer driven this year. We had a haunted house, we had pumpkin carving contests. Then that was kind of right in with the Dia de los Muertos, where students also got involved culturally around the Day of the Dead. We also did national bullying prevention during this month. And then in November, it's been busy. We had some students go to the Next Generation Career Trade Fair at the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds. We're taking a look at the different programs that Valley Contractors and others are offering for students in a career-related field. Tomorrow, we have a 4-hour training called Breaking Down the Walls, school-wide with all of our students. We've prepped them this week on what it's going to look like. It's about building empathy and improving and strengthening our school culture and climate. We've noticed we've had some conflicts with students, peer conflicts. So I think this is going to be a good training for students. I think they're going to enjoy it tomorrow. We've got a presenter coming in and kind of guide us through the work. Also on Friday, we do a Thanksgiving. This is an annual tradition at Prospect and CDS, a gratitude meal for students. Stormy from Food Service helps with students as well and prepare food for all students, which we do kind of at our lunchtime on Friday. There's turkeys, staff bring in pies, they bake goods, they bring it in, and it's just a big celebration with our students. So we really try to push, obviously, the celebrations. Staff, this has been a long year so far. Our social worker, Erica, has provided some help for us in terms of like kind of getting our minds right a little bit. There's forest therapy tomorrow with one of our former staff members who leads it. So it's going to kind of help get us more centered for the staff that are choosing to go to it after school. And then, like I mentioned before, the college financial aid workshops and career costs, mock interviews are going to continue. And to wrap up December, it's going to be a short month, but we've got a field trip to Butte College to tour industrial technology career and training programs. We're hoping to take a bus with a lot of students to that. And then also Butte College Reg to Go welcome presentation will be in December. So we've been pretty busy. Talked to Paul about taking more pictures so we can get them on the webpage and do some advertising. But overall, it's been a good start to the school year. Like I said, peer conflict has been a big thing we've been working on. And I hope tomorrow's training for students and for staff will be something to help with that.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Sound
Matt.
busy.
Thank you.
So while Matt's here, if you look at your desk, these are digital downloads. We had Heather McGowan from Sounding Board Marketing help us develop digital downloads for all of our schools. So the principals had a lot of feedback in it. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen the updated one. We provided some information that got put into it.
But for all schools, so that we mailed out Orville and LPs to all the incoming ninth graders.
These went out to all incoming.
No, just the Orville and LP ones. And you have those in front of you. And then we did one for Prospect and we did one for Adult Ed. And so we'll have those available for people if they want to know, hey, what's Prospect do? What's Prospect known for? And so we're trying to work. We had this in the works before Thrive came in. So it's finally coming out in time for getting the word out for transfers and that. But picture of the kids on it, they're really nice. And so we're really trying to change the narrative on, Prospect, the narrative on Prospect, some people go, it's unsafe. I don't want to go there. But when you talk to kids, they go, it's a fantastic place to go. I'm glad I'm here. And so we're trying to take advantage of that so that when people go, hey, tell me about Prospect, we can go here. And we also have them on the website. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Dr. Willenberg. We've got a lot of students on the wait list right now. We're trying to pick up as many seniors as possible. We've got 4 more blocks. I think we picked up 7 last week and a half, and we've got 3 or 4 more we're gonna be enrolling here shortly. So it's growing. So that's a good thing. Good students graduated.
Thank you. Nice job.
Good. Thank you, man.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Item 2, recognition of outgoing board member Nanette Walker. Dr. Willenberg?
So I've had the pleasure of knowing Nanette Walker for 24 years. I've known her as a colleague and then 8 years as a board member. And I have found her to be a very good board member, does her homework. She'll ask me questions, and she always wants to have the best interest on instruction and what's good for kids. And so I appreciate, Nanette, all of the work you've done the last 8 years. So in the tradition of the Orville Union High School District outgoing board members, we donate a book to each campus in their honor. And so it says the Board of Trustees of the Orville Union High School District purchased this book to honor Nanette Walker for serving as a board member from 2014 to 2022, on November 16th, 2022. And so Nanette will decide which one they go to. But Fire in Paradise is one of the books. The Ballad of the Songbird and the Snakes. And Moonbird, A Year in the Wind with the Great Survivor B-95. And so, Nanette, thank you. We appreciate your contributions to the district, and we wish you well.
Thanks for that.
Okay. Now, recognition of individuals who wish to speak on non-agenda items. If you would raise your hand so we have an idea how many there are. 1, 2, 3. All right, come up. And we're going to, just a friendly reminder, you're limited to 3 minutes and 15 minutes total. Okay, so 3 minutes per person, so you can have up to 5 people. Okay, we have 3, it sounds like. Go ahead and come forward, state your name and what else you need. Just name, please. Come as you, whoever chooses to come first.
Lori Sousa, and I'm with Delta Upsilon Sorority right now. Hello, board members. I
Hi,
want
Lori.
to
Hello.
do a report and thank you very, very much for our annual breast cancer awareness walk. As you see, I am wearing this year's sweatshirt, and our sponsor is on the back. And it says, nobody fights alone. And we all know that. And I just want to let you guys know that This is our third year at Harrison Stadium because we had been doing it for 18 years at Bedrock Park. And when we moved it to Harrison Stadium, it's just been a wonderful, just to have it there. It's safe, it's clean, and great parking. We have been very blessed this year with the amount that we had made, that with your help by waiving the fee, you have contributed towards our $6,781.57. So thank you very much for giving to your community. The pancakes. We had a bunch of hungry people this year at $5 for them pink pancakes, sausage, and fruit. Gotta have it. And thank you for your sorority girls to come down and support us. That was, we made $328. And this is some, the pink pancakes is Debbie and Tom Britton, and who used to own Hofbrau, but now it's Deb's Scones and Cones now. But this is honoring her mom and her father. And when she approached us about doing the pink pancakes, it's just, it helps her in her healing process and her love for her community. So thank you so much. And looking forward to many years of doing this event because it's something that is needed and we are helping so many. And and then can I say something for another 3 minutes on something else?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So another thing that is wonderful that it goes on with your students in our district at both high schools, Las Plumas and Orville, is the Key Club. And they volunteer themselves. You have over 50 Key Clubbers at Las Plumas and over 40, it's like 45, 42, like that, at Orville. And this Saturday, they will be painting fire hydrants. Again, we've been doing this for many years. And under the direction of Tyler Woodward, the fireman, he's just fantastic with our students. And safety always comes first. And it's just, these students walk away feeling proud in their community. And it's like I have mentioned before, when they're later on in life, when they're driving around town with their children, they're going to turn around and say, you know what I did in high school? I painted that fire hydrant, and it's happening. They are coming back because that's how many years we've been doing this. So I just wanted to let you know, I'm real proud of our Key Club and our advisors at both schools, and that this is something that the Kiwanis Club, we fund them, we sponsor them, and I just want to let you know I'm real proud. We have wonderful students and Key Club members because they are there for one thing, and one thing is giving back to their community, and they're good kids and they have great futures ahead of them. So that was my other. I hope I did it quicker than 3 minutes.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
Hi, my name is Jen Lopez, and sorry, mine's not as cheerful as hers was. I have a few things that I wanted to bring to the attention that I had already brought to the attention of Corey. There's a couple of struggles that I'm wanting to hopefully get help from you guys on because he said it has to go in front of the board. One of them is our academic probation. This district is the only one in Butte County that is only allowing kids to have one in their 4 years. Per CIF, they're allowed 3 in their 4 years. When you have kids that struggle, that legit struggle in school and are doing what they can do, and sports is what they look forward to, taking that away from them isn't helping.
Can you say it again? This district allows one.
one per. and
CIF
the
allows,
CIF is 3 in their 4 years of high school.
and no other district does one.
No. Gridley, Paradise, Biggs, they're all 1 per year. The only rule is it cannot be back to back. I
See,
printed up the,
if they allow 3 in a 4-year period, one of them's gonna be back to back.
well, you can't do it for basketball and then do it for baseball.
Oh, you mean the sport itself?
Sport-wise, yeah.
We're the only one that does
This
1
is
year?
the only district that does 1 a
All
year.
those schools you just mentioned do 3?
Yes. Yes. And I printed up this, that you guys are welcome to have this. It's a program that was put in place at another school with the program with kids that struggle. Get my glasses on. So students can't have more than 2 failing grades. They have to have a 1.33 to a 1.99 to even qualify for the academic probation with this program. They cannot have any more than 2 unsatisfactory citizenship grades. And they have to do tutoring an hour a day. And they do like check-ins, like teachers do a report every Friday on how they're
Can you
doing.
hand that out to us? Is that the one you said you have?
Yeah, you guys can have this.
Oh, you have 1 copy?
Yeah, but you
Okay.
can have it.
Okay.
I can print it up if I need it. It just says the goal of academic probation is to encourage students to study and work hard in school to play sports as a reward. There are requirements from the student, parent, coach, and school. Students are required to go to a minimum of 1 hour of tutoring a week. And I think if we could get that, we used to do stuff like that at LP, but it's gone. So if we could get that implemented back in, it would help a lot with a lot of these kids, because once they aren't allowed to play, they shut down and depression kicks in, and it just makes it tough. And, you know, there was a lot of kids that had to use their academic probation that first semester coming back from COVID. And I don't think that any kid should have had to use an academic probation that first semester back from COVID. So that was my first subtopic. My other one is, it's a really big struggle of getting teachers involved with the SST, the IEPs, and the 501 meetings. I had an SST meeting set up last year for my son, and I had 2 teachers show up. This year I had 3 teachers show up. It's just very frustrating because I feel like kids are held to a higher standard than our teachers at this point. My son struggles. I've tried helping him held back 3 different times, only to be told that it's not conducive to hold him back. It's not productive to keep moving him on when he's not understanding the information. I'm at home with him every night when he cries because he doesn't understand things. And it's frustrating for me to watch as a parent. So there's
You said like in a student study team, how many teachers should be there?
6,
6?
Yep.
One for
each class.
For each class?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I have another one set up in December. So the counselor's been amazing with getting this together, and it's set up a month in advance. So there's not any reason why the teachers can't be there. I take time off of work. It's my child. I'm there. It should be just as important for the teachers. That way I know what I need to work on with him at home to help him be successful in class as well.
Did I hear you say IEP meetings too?
Yes.
That are not all showing up?
So we just need to get the teachers more involved with everything. So that was all I had. But you can have this
Thank
thing.
Yeah, I'd like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. I appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, one other person have a non-agenda?
My name is Sue Orge. I have a grandson that's at Las Plumas High School that's having difficulty with truancy. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm your patient.
I saw you look at me and go, no, I'm not talking. I have a cold, sorry. So anyway, we were investigating the truancy as a concerned grandmother and father. And we reached out to the counselor at LP, and it was kind of a wash. We never heard anything back. So we went down to Indian Health and made appointments to get him into counseling and a tutor. And because he's Native American, his father. And I guess Kara, the mother, found out that we had investigated the truancy, and she went down and put a restraining order against us. So we haven't been able to reach out to help my grandson for education. And we're going to go through the court system, which is going to be ugly. But I was just wondering, how's this truancy work? Because my understanding is he has like 25 truancies against him.
Dr. Willenberg could probably respond to that.
Huh?
We'll have to make sure that we can share information with you, but you
Oh,
ask the
probably-
information because we have to look at contacts.
Oh, okay. But
But, I mean, can you answer the truancy
So
question?
I'm going to answer truancy.
yeah, truancy.
So what happens is student misses 3 to 5 days.
More
we
than
send the
that.
first letter.
Okay.
So it depends. Sometimes they miss more than when we get the letter out. But then they miss 3 more. It's a second letter. And then they're given a call to meet with the assistant principal, the student, and the parent, and have a truancy mediation meeting where a truancy contract will be signed if they show up. If they're absent again, or it's usually about 3 days, then it's a third letter. And then what happens, then those students and parents are referred to the student achievement and attendance review team, which is superintendent, director of ed, Boys and Girls Club, and the assistant principal, and a counselor. And we'll talk about the student. We'll try to figure out why they are being truant and try to come up with a plan with them on turning the truancy around. Sometimes it's clothes, sometimes it's gas, sometimes it's transportation, sometimes and we have a little girl this week that said she just hates people and doesn't want to be on campus. So we try to work through all those barriers, and then if they continue to be truant, then we can do a referral to the Butte County DA's office. We get about 9 a year there, but we have to go through all the steps, and SART is the last step. We have to do home visits. There's a lot of things to do for the truancy. One of the things is when the state restructured chronic absenteeism, if a student, they get 10 excused absences. So if they're absent, say 12 times, and they're sick 11 and 12, that's still unexcused because the state says 10's the max that you can count. So some of these students that even though they bring us a doctor's note, we have to count them as unexcused, and then they're truant. Does that help?
So,
Yeah.
so if they have someone that hasn't been, that is allowed to communicate on the student's behalf, they can contact Dr. Collins.
And that you may not be able to talk to them. What happens is when people come to us and say, hey, I want to talk to you about a student, we have to make sure that they're in the contact.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If someone is okay with that, then they can contact Dr. Collins tomorrow.
So before the restraining order, we should have went to,
If you were a noted contact, that would have been to do, yes.
okay.
After the restraining order, then I don't think
Yeah,
you're able to.
because okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was super nervous, but I had a couple other things that are really fast.
You get 3 minutes. Come on up.
I'll be fast. You guys made me feel a little more comfortable, so thank you. I don't do public speaking. A couple of my other things were Google Classroom and Aries do not match. If something is showing, so my son turned in some assignments that he had been missing, in Google Classroom. And it said, good job, you turned in, you have no more missing assignments. Then when you go to Aries, it's still saying he's missing assignments. I did bring this up in the SST meeting and was told that teachers don't update the Google, they don't do it on both because it's too much work, was the excuse I was given for it. But that's very confusing as a parent because I look at Aries and he's looking at Google Classroom. So if you think that everything's turned in and you're still getting docked points, that doesn't.
Corey, have you heard
So
that?
why do we use both?
So what happens is Aries is our student information
Right.
system. So everything is in there except right now interventions. Interventions are entered in Swiss. I know this will be complicated. So interventions then get pulled into Aries. When we query things, we use Aries. We don't use Google Classroom. So we'll have to look into why there's a discrepancy, but she has talked to me before about this, and I haven't found the right answer. Or
Do they, like in Google Classroom, a lot of times they're putting in those assignments and then there's a way for the student to go in and access that and be able to use it sometimes.
Once
And
it's turned in, you can't pull anything back up to prove that you turned it in.
I understand that. I've had some issues with my son thinking that he's turned things in.
Yep.
And then something happens and it doesn't actually get attached or very.
Yes,
like
that
So I know
attachment.
there's definitely issues with that I've had to work through also. And I also know that from my experience that sometimes teachers might be behind or they all have their own way of doing things. Where
Right.
they might grade a certain thing at a certain time and then they put all this information in. So I've noticed that myself, that Aries definitely lags behind,
Yes.
even if it is at some point accurate too.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of it is teachers' own personal style, how they are grading or how they are, what their timeline is for entering information. So I personally just go in and have a conversation with those teachers about what to expect, when they're going to grade and when I can expect something to be showing up so that I know what to expect. And hopefully you have communication with that teacher so you can.
That's my other thing is Dr. Collins has been really good with getting teachers to finally respond. But last year I couldn't get a teacher to respond after email after email after email. This year it's taken me sending multiple emails and him having to actually tell the teachers, you need to respond to these parents to finally get responses. But the frustration that I brought to Corey was on November 4th. There were grades that hadn't been updated since October 14th. That's not okay. Especially when,
I've had that experience occasionally myself, so.
and when they play sports and then that gets used against them. So that's not, to me, it's not acceptable. And I don't understand what ever happened with teacher communication. I mean, if I didn't do something in school, they called home. There's no communication anymore. And that's very frustrating.
Do you go to the back to school night?
I don't go to the back to school night, but I go to the school a lot. I've actually went and sat in classes with my son.
The teachers themselves, okay.
Yeah.
I
And
found that that's been useful, like at the beginning of the year to interact with that teacher and say, when I need to contact you, what's the best means? Because some of them like email, some of them like
yes,
a phone call, that kind of thing. And that way they know already you can be expecting them to, have some communication with you.
yeah, I've gotten on a texting relationship with teachers, a couple teachers so far. So that's nice because I work 2 jobs and I'm working on being a foster mom right now. And so my time is very limited of outside of home and work, but I do everything I can. I went and sat in class with him last year to hear his biology teacher tell me that she doesn't waste her time teaching these kids because she realizes she's not teaching doctors and scientists. Then you can't fail them if that's your attitude. And he failed bio. So it's just frustrating. I mean, I just feel like we have so many people that work within this district that don't care about the kids. And if you don't, then why be here? It's just frustrating. And then as a parent, you just feel like your hands are tied. So,
Still for being involved with your
yeah,
students.
I'm not backing down. I only have 2 years with mine, but I'll have many others that will be going through too, so I won't let any of them fall through the cracks.
Thanks for
But
coming.
that was
Thank you.
it.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
One last thing? Huh?
We're supposed to go see the teachers tomorrow, have a meeting with the teachers. His father and I were going to go. In the court order, it says it's okay to go, but the father is pretty nervous because you can't go on campus if the son is on campus to have this meeting with the teachers. So we called today to cancel because the father's pretty confused. How can you go on campus and have, a talk with the
time's the meeting?
teachers with the meeting? It was supposed to be 8 o'clock tomorrow at LP. Yeah,
You have a suggestion?
it's crazy. It
It's
says
before
you can
school.
go and then
Teachers are there, because, so, what we can do is, I think we met with your son today. I think I was in Mr. Wood's office when I talked to him, and I'm not gonna go into specifics about it.
no,
but you
just keep
probably
it
know.
simple.
So-
I'm totally
so we
like
probably
simple.
need To find a way to be able to pull that off, that meeting. So we'll work with Dr. Collins and see if we can come up with a way to do it. And we may have to do it with a few teachers at a time so that we get everybody there.
You talking about tomorrow at 8 or postponing it?
It was postponed.
Well, I didn't get a response, but I called and postponed it. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll work with Dr. Collins to see if we can come up with,
So am I able to go or no?
no?
No.
Because I wouldn't be
Because
able to
I
talk to
don't
you.
understand. She called me one day to go pick him up from school, so I wouldn't have been able to, right? Because I'm not on there.
Right now, that's my understanding, and I don't have that in front of me. So.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, non-agenda? Okay, that item is now closed. Anyone here to speak on a agenda item?
Yeah, I just have a comment on item number 19. I'd just like to publicly comment Kristen for looking ahead 3 years and coming up. I'm sure you looked at it when you read your packets. Just some great courses that are going to start next year, and then some others that are going to follow the second year and the third year. And I know she is doing everything she can to try to make have classes for kids that are meaningful, not only now but for the rest of their lives. And it's one of the best things I've seen. And I just want to publicly commend her for doing what she did.
Thank you. I have a comment. The board has decided to hold off on the decision on the superintendent for next year and the roles there until after the first of the year. We'll be making a decision at that time. Anyone else? Dr. Willenberg.
So it's this time of year, just before Thanksgiving and Christmas, that we get really busy. Right now, we are working on a plan for the art, music, instructional materials block grant. We're working on getting a petition out or a survey out to parents and staff and asking for guidance on how we need to spend $1.3 million. There's certain criteria for it. The state made the plan, said you have to come up with a plan, but they have no template for the plan. So Mrs. Watts was able to secure a plan template so that we can make sure that we hit all the areas in it. So we'll be rolling that out in the next few weeks. We had a supportive school climate meeting on Monday the 7th. Had a lot of people show up, had great answers. Mr. Seahorn was in attendance. We presented our PBIS data as required by the stipulated agreement with DOJ to the community. People thought we were doing a good job. We're a partner in two projects with Chico State on trying to improve and increase the teacher pipeline for teachers. So we may be working on a dual enrollment class where kids can get credit in an education class at Chico State while they're still students at Oroville in Oroville Union High School District. So we're working on that. We're also trying to increase the pipeline of teachers that match the students of our students. So Asian teachers, African American teachers, Hispanic teachers. So Chico State, we're working with about 10 professors from Chico State on trying to help them with their research with that. We're working with BCOE on a mental health grant. And so what that would be is that would allow us to get extra mental health services for kids on a contract. So they would have contract counselors for as long as the money was there. And then they would go away when the grant goes away. I was asked to present on attendance on the state at the state level today to 155 people from here to the Oregon border, all the way down to the Mexican border. And we talked about a process. We've been recognized as having a good process on reducing chronic absenteeism and our SART process and bringing our chronic absenteeism indicator down. So I was asked by Butte County Office of Education to present on that process. And so we did that today. And then the Thrive process, we're working with Thrive. They've been in the district, and then they had a Zoom call with our principals and staff members and gave us next steps on going back to our staffs and trying to refine the feedback that they received in their visit here and the surveys. One of the impressive things with Thrive is they had contact with 1,000 people, either via surveys or in person or phone calls. And so that's probably the best student or input from any group that we've had. So we will be bringing you more information as we work on this project. The last thing I have is we did the digital downloads, and I was talking about that today, is we did them for all of our schools. So we had the principals go through and say, what is Oroville known for? What is Las Plumas known for? And they went and put the things that they're most proud of, that they think they do well. Las Plumas did the same thing. We included student pictures. We had adult ed do one because we're trying to get a positive word and about our schools because we think we do a good job. And then, like Matt talked about, Prospect, we have one for them. And so we tried to include kids. If you look at, say, the Las Plumas one, Madison, the 12th graders quoted, and what we're known for, and they all have that. And they'll be on the website, and then we'll be able to take them to real estate agents and put them in letters for incoming students. So I'm pretty proud of that. I think we're stepping up our game and trying to get the word out on what a great job we do. That's all I have.
Thank you, Corey. Dr. Watts.
I did want to share two positives that we had since the last time we met. One of them has to do with in the state budget, they provided ADA relief back to 21, 22, because as you've all, we've talked about it before here, is that a lot of districts, when the kids came back, they were missing a lot of school. So in our case, we had increased enrollment, but our ADA declined because our attendance percentage dropped about 10%. There was some conflicting information about how you offer independent study to your students. And so we thought when we closed the books that we did not
qualify for this funding. And so after you had to certify by November 1st, and doing some more checking and checking with our auditors and the Butte County Office of Education, we feel like we do qualify for that. So we were able to certify for that funding, met the deadline, and that will bring in a little bit over $800,000 that for last year. That, when we close the books, we didn't include in our revenue estimates. So we'll be able to include that on a one-time basis. The second thing is with the elections, Prop 928 passed, which has to do with additional funding for arts and music, which is separate from the arts and music and discretionary block grant that Corey was talking about. And so the estimates that came out today is that Las Plumas would get $238,000, and it's based on your enrollment and the number of free and reduced kids that you have. That Oroville would have to get 182,000, and Prospect would get 17,000. Again, with this other funding source, you've got to develop a plan, and so we'll have to be doing that. And with this survey, that will be helpful because we can use some of those suggestions when we're developing the plan for this too. So a couple positives, a little bit more money coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing the money in. Mr. Wood?
A little bit ago, Trustee King asked me to bring to the board what I do every day. And so I'm going to just give a quick, because there's a lot, we could be here a while if I went through everything, but just kind of a quick rundown of what I do almost on a daily. There's about 7 or 8 different areas that I oversee, and all of them have a lot of needs and a lot of work. One of those being special ed, so basically I monitor and do the upper level compliance and improvement monitoring, IEP attendance, especially for those that may require some extra assistance from the district in terms of providing services and those types of things, program management, problem solving, guidance, all those types of things. I spend a lot of time on the phone with the psychs and with case managers and whatnot, just kind of troubleshooting things and figuring out what's the best way to go and still maintain compliance and those types of things, especially in the world. Curriculum and instruction, working with the principals to design curriculum and get curriculum needs taken care of, any professional development around that curriculum, those types of things. I've been working with Kristen on her plan and stuff, and I'm with you, Mr. Seahorn, that I'm excited for what she's got going on there as well.
Good stuff.
Providing some great opportunities for kids, and we're looking at those kinds of things across the board, not just at one high school. So looking at those types of things. So I spend time in a lot of conversation with principals and staff members and whatnot, and those types of things. I'm also over assessments, so just making sure that we're assessing kids in a timely manner and make sure we're using the data and getting the data, that we're doing it and having our staff are all trained and meeting the compliance on those types of things so we can maintain the validity of our data and those testing outcomes. CTE has been a big focus for the last couple of weeks. I've spent a couple trips where I went to different places and kind of looked at different CTE programs to try to improve and enhance what we've got going on already. We've got a lot of great programs and things going on, but we're looking to maintain what we have, but also add some more pathways that will be more relevant also to our local industry needs. One being specifically a medical arts pathway that we can hopefully tie in and get some kids certified to leave high school and go to work in the hospital or in the clinics and those types of things. Also, we're working to partner with BCOE and other county entities. I have a meeting with them and also with Thermalito's superintendent and middle school principal, where we're going to start looking at ways that we can get some career and technical education opportunities at some of our feeder middle schools, and how we can build kind of a countywide support program. Places like Paradise has an ambulance simulator. How can we get our hands on that and get some students in that? The county has a forklift simulation program, so how can we tap into some of that just so we get some job ready skills for kids as they're leaving high school? So looking ways we can build partnerships across the county so we can get more access to more certifications for our kids. Categorical programs take a lot of time. There's a lot of program compliance and monitoring and budgeting, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different, at least 7 different categorical programs that we manage, and Dr. Watts has been a huge help to me with the budgeting and the budget codes, and it's become a little bit of a game for me. I'm trying to get the codes down, and she's been a great cheerleader on that end. Our English language development program, we're working at this time to revise the EL master plan so that we can come in compliance with the EL roadmap that CDE has provided for us. Scott Burkett's been working really hard with me on that to get that put together. We'll be taking it to our DLAC group, and then we'll bring it to the board once we get it kind of finalized. What that will do is we're building it in a manner that it will lead to more accountability in regards to compliance, so that we don't get into the mess with FPM issues that we've had to correct over the last little bit. And then, of course, consolidated application and LCAP. We're gearing up to start that process after the first of the year. I'm excited about the Thrive process. That's giving us a lot of good data that we're going to use to build our funding and those types of things around. With that information, it's gold in that regard. We really will be able to narrow down some focuses and things like that. So, Ms. King, that's it in a nutshell.
After sharing a table with you at one of the meetings, I'm just thrilled that you hired John. He just has a lot of ideas, and I think he's going to do great.
And on another note, just a further report, we have submitted all of the compliance documentation that was required of us. We're now just waiting to hear back if we've got their stamp of approval, and we're pretty confident that we do. We did a lot of good work on that, so I will let you know how that goes.
So I have one other question for you too. We've heard from this management about IEPs and not having good compliance with teachers. Do we keep track of teachers going to those? Are they required to? Are they?
Yeah, so I don't know how we keep track, or I'm sure the psychs have a way to do it. I haven't dove into that process, but after hearing that, I'm going to definitely dive into that process. We have to have at least one regular ed teacher. That's kind of the bare minimum. The better practice is to have more, especially from core subjects. And so we need to look at ways to make sure we're getting teachers there. Sometimes it's hard because we do some of these during the day and we can't get sub or coverage and those kinds of things to just bring them out of the classroom, but finding ways so we can get creative so we can get more teachers there. And, having it be a process where they feel valued in that. I think there's some of that. As part of our compliance improvement monitoring for special ed, one of the things we're talking about is improving the efficiency of the actual IEP process. That involves communication with parents, communication with teachers, getting those entities involved throughout the process in a better way. And so hopefully through that process, we'll be able to identify ways we can increase the capacity.
At IEP, our administrator, is there at least one administrator at every IEP?
Should be, yeah.
And sometimes that's the psychologist, because we have.
It should be a site administrator, Corey, or an assistant.
Sometimes, it just depends, because one goes to IEP, I go to IEP, the person will go to IEP. Sometimes we have a few in a day, multiple on the campus. So the problem one, we'll have one that we have administrators show up, but for this one too, the sites have helped take that load off. Because we do about 425 IEPs. So it's trying to get enough coverage to make sure that we're going to the ones we need to go to, because Mr. Wood also is responsible, and I was in his shoes in July, because I was going to the IEPs in Durham and Bases and out of the district, because our kids are sitting in those programs, so we have to go to those IEPs. So we will go to those IEPs. We will go to the IEPs because transportation is an issue, and also because we have Rhonda Copeland as our lead transportation right now. Rhonda's helping me with that process with transportation, because we take and make sure that Rhonda's there at the meetings, board of cities have an IMP that includes transportation, or OUHSD has one that includes transportation. They're on the code one is there. Jim LeBron may be there as well, I may be there, John Wood may be there. But we're gonna have real people there, the ones that are gonna potentially have an impact on the district.
Correct. I remember in the past, teachers, they were negotiated to be paid for IEPs, is that right?
After school.
After school. But, so I hope there is a way to track who's going and who's not.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
DOJ update, Corey.
So we are getting towards the end of the first semester, so we have to submit to DOJ our discipline data, our attendance data, and we will put out a community bulletin. By the stipulated agreement, we have to give out two bulletins. So I have Sounding Board Marketing help us with those. And so we're already in the process of working on that. We are also working on getting translations with DOJ on some board policies and just some compliance issues. So right now, we're just submitting the information that they request.
I have a question. As far as the DOJ, when our mentor or whatever was talking the other night, I mean, how is the behavior, since we have the SWIFT, since we've instituted all the ideas from the DOJ?
So what Swiss is going to do is Swiss is the documentation. So as a teacher, I call a parent, I put that in Swiss. So what happens is it shows intervention. So when you look at when the principals or the PBIS team share data, you're saying there's 1,100 interventions during the month of September at Oroville High School, and you're going, oh my gosh, that's all discipline. No, it's calls home. It's, hey, you did a great job. Counseling. So if a counselor talked to them, we're making sure that the counselor documents that, because that was one of the things with DOJ is we weren't documenting all the great things we were doing with kids. We documented the discipline, and that was it. So we have to prove to DOJ that we are working with kids. We are not just using suspension as our tool. We are using structured day. We are using counseling. We're using our targeted case managers. We're using our social workers. We're using our counselors. They're the tier 2 intervention. So if a teacher is having issues and they can't do something to get the kid to change the behavior, then they're getting referred to the counselor. We don't want kids that refuse to sit in a seat to just automatically go to the assistant principal. So we've tried to restructure our discipline, but it's a work in progress still.
I mean, is it working?
I think so.
Is the kids feeling better? Are they doing better?
I think some are. I think this year we've seen an uptick in violence with fights and weapons, but our expulsions are not where they were 12 years ago, where we were expelling 70 to 80 kids a year. Our suspensions are down.
But I mean, you think the DOJ would want to know how their program's working?
Well, it's not their program. They just say district go do it, and we
That's
have
what
to
I mean.
find ways to
Right,
do it.
Right.
And so I have to meet with them quarterly, and I have to provide the data monthly with them. And so they're monitoring it because I had to go talk to them, not in a quarterly meeting, about our expulsions, because we have 10 right now. And so they wanted to know ethnicity of every kid, and they wanted to know what they did and why they were recommended and what interventions did we do before we recommended expulsion or suspension. So,
Corey, last year, didn't we, at the beginning of the year, have a lot of violence or other kinds of fights and things like that, and then kids kind of settled in and
yeah.
things
I think we had 3 expulsions last year, 3 total, so that was, so to go from 3 to 10, you know, and that was 3 all year. And then to go to 10, it was pretty big jump. But I'm not gonna say anything because right now don't jinx it.
Thank you.
First draft of the 23-24 school calendar.
So by rule, we have to shop our calendar with all the feeder schools. So I heard from 3 of the feeder schools, the larger ones, so it worked out. And so this draft reflects feedback from Thermalito, Orville City, and Palermo superintendent, plus teachers and staff. And there was a lot of people that they want the February break back. So that's why we did this the way we did it. We did Christmas a little later next year. So we will, last day of students will be the 21st, and then an in-service day on the 22nd. And then when we put board meetings in there and that, I'm going to ask that we probably go the 4th week of July for a board meeting, just because we have staff on vacation. I need them to get vacation and get refueled, so I don't want the board to have a lot of special meetings for hiring and that. So I think if we do one at the last end of July, that would be beneficial. So, any questions on the calendar?
Questions? Nope. Old business, there is none. Amended or consent calendar, recommendations for approval. Do I have a vote? With 1 reading, right? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. New business, item 23, purchase of a new scoreboard and digital display for Harrison Stadium. Dr. Willenberg.
So, with the board approved the new turf and the new track, I talked to Mr. LeGrone and I go, hey, what if we get a scoreboard while we're at it? And so I had Mr. LeGrone and his team get quotes. And then we met with Oasis, and we talked to Oasis about it. So Mrs. Buis and her son and Tom Aldridge from Oasis, and said, would you like to help us with this purchase? So the scoreboard's $114,489.62. Oasis will happily contribute $50,000. That didn't drain their account, because I told them I wanted them to continue to do the good work that they're doing with recognizing athletes and doing the things they do. And so infrastructure costs will be funded by maintenance and deferred maintenance funding, and then we'll use one-time funds for it. So we'll have updated scoreboard. We ran the design through Oasis. They're on board with it, so we're recommending approval.
Do I have a motion? Let's have a motion first. And a second? Comments or questions?
On the current scoreboard, when they do track meets and they put results up and entries and all that stuff, it's so small that you almost have to have binoculars to read it. And it's been that way now for 12 years. I hope that the new scoreboard can address that.
Mr. LeGrone?
Thank you.
They sell program ads. They sell the ads on the scoreboard. They, the granite tiles for Hall of Fame and things like that.
Business owners know.
I have a comment. Not to take anything away from Oasis, but as Susan will remember, how concerned Nanette and I were 8 years ago about the maintenance to Harrison Stadium and how we were going to pay for that, because the bond didn't really give us money, right, for maintenance. And now we have this unbelievable, atrocious amount that needs to be paid here last week, so I have to tell them. And so, until we can spend some money, which is my new, what do you call it? Well, whatever, to give some coaches, teacher coaches, more money for coaching, so we can have teachers as coaches. I know when my daughter was in high school, the only problem they had with the varsity basketball was when they had a person who was not a teacher as a coach. And I think that's what we should do. So I'm voting no, because I'd like to see money spent. I know it's probably not out of the same pocket, just so you're not taking out of our savings account, you know. Anyway, on this one.
Well,
We're gonna have a vote in just a minute. My only thing is this, I'm all for this, but, I would like to see us get, things that help our teams improve, like weight rooms, top quality weight rooms. Ray would tell you about a trip he took to visit all these colleges, his weight rooms are amazing. And the reason I want that is because, so our side of the scoreboard will get high numbers. Those are called points, okay? Which is part of weightlifting, and see, so I think it's tied together with what we do here. Any other comments?
I think I've mentioned too that I'd like to see better weight rooms also, and I think we're talking
We're
about
working
that a
on
little bit with our restructuring over at LP or whatever.
We're working on it. We've done a walkthrough with Dr. Collins and Mr. Legrone. Mrs. Watts and I found some money for athletics and extracurriculars. We've reached out to the principals and the ADs and said, how can we improve?
Have you got that list yet?
I have from Warville. I do
Still
have
not
it
from LP?
No. And so we are working on that. We're also working on a plan for the weight room. It's just other projects have come to the top, and so it is in the plan to clean up
I mean,
that
that's,
weight room.
I mean, I talked to someone 3 weeks ago, and now you're still waiting for that. I mean, can we
And it's
get like a stern reminder?
Well, I'm gonna meet with the ADs, and so I will remind them again.
Thank you.
I don't know a lot about the weight room because I've actually never been in there over at LP, but is part of the plan to have more space for the weight room too?
There's not much space we can go to right now. I looked at moving it to a portable, but because the portable is not on concrete, the free weights would go through the floor. So
Let's vote on this, and then we'll go. All in
I'll
favor?
just go on, I'm all in favor of upgrading weight rooms and everything too, big time.
All in favor on item 23?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
3-2, the motion passes. Item 24, review of the one-time board-approved project list. Now we can talk about weight room.
In the past, when I had talked to some of the people who are working out there and doing things with the students at LP, they were saying that there's not enough room for them to do a lot of the deadlifts and various things that they need with the big bars and all that kind of stuff. And so I don't know if there really is that kind of space if we restructure it or whatever, but I was told that to really have the kind of equipment and space and things that we need for our, especially for our football teams or with wrestlers and stuff like that to fully work out, they would need a little more space to be able to do those kinds of things where they can drop those big bars and stuff. So I'd like to just look into that as part of that plan.
we redid the weight room at Las Pumas about 5 years ago, and it was a trash pit. It was just where old things went to die. And we cleaned that up, we painted it, and then I walked Mr. Legrone and Mr. Cash through there probably in the summer, and said we need to figure out a way because the weights are dinging up the walls. So we're looking at using like some diamond plate or something, coming up with a plan so we're not repainting the walls every few years. But we're also trying to look at space. And one of the questions we have is, we don't know if that was a legally built building. Because the auto shop was like that for years, because Mr. Legrone will tell you when he was a student at LP, I think he worked on a weekend and built the auto shop with the teacher.
Yeah, I would like to, I would like to see it be a priority to get something that our kids can be proud of,
I agree.
that it makes a big difference in the, you know, I mean, muscle matters. I used to have some.
So it is on your one-time list.
Yeah.
And so we're plugging along through the.
See, I'm looking at this list and it says like asphalt the back parking lot at Harrison. I'd rather get the team ready, get the team excelling, then you'll need to, asphalt the parking lot. Right now, huh? Oh, okay.
So if you look, and Mrs. Watts will go through
Sorry about
the
that.
memo.
Just one other thing, I don't know much about where those weight room too. Do they have a decent space? I'll make sure that where those
It's taken care of.
be taken care of also.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, did you want us to have comments here on this? Is that what?
No,
Do you want me
Susan
to introduce it? So at our last board meeting, the board asked us to bring back the lifetime project list for you to review. So we do, and it's included in your, or we did, and it's included in your packet. But we were requesting to make some changes in addition to whatever changes that you want to make. But we'd like to add a re-roofing project for the Las Plumas West Gym, the new scoreboard at Harrison, and then a high jump pole vault pit covers, again for Harrison. And then we would want to remove the gates on the parking lots at Harrison, remove old lifts in transportation that we were going to do, fixed bleacher issue, walking door at LP, restroom access from West Main Gym at LP, HVAC for the LP East Gym, upgrade field lighting to LED at Harrison, asphalt back parking lot at Harrison, small walk-in kitchen at PHS, and cooling and transportation shop. And Mr. LeBrun, you can maybe chime in on the things that we're removing. Are those, some of those, are they things that we've done or going to do with a different source, or you feel like it's no longer needed?
I think some of these things are no longer needed. When we, took a look at this list and, for example, gauge of Harrison, I think if we put things on the parking lots of Harrison, that's going to cost more than we should. So we really took this list and said, these things are really put on this list.
Yeah, 'cause you could park on the street, walk through the gate, right?
Well, Jim, on the long jump, triple jump, pit covers, can I just ask that you could, Eddie Carey probably knows more about that from somebody than anybody I know. Anyway, you either go directly to Eddie, who works at Lundberg's, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with it. I mean, just like I said, I'd like the gyms be looked at real close. But I don't have any problem with the request to add and the request to remove myself. Yeah, I make the motion
What is it?
to accept this
Oh, okay.
review.
So, a second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item 24, change method of placing students into English and math classes. Mr. Wood.
Yep, so the district for years has been using the MAP assessment to place the incoming freshmen into language arts and math courses and honors and regular courses. Many of our feeder schools have switched away from that, and they're using other platforms. For consistency, we're proposing that we use the CASP scores in language arts and math, which every student in the state takes to take the place of the math assessment. The main reason behind this is a couple reasons. Number one, the amount of time it takes our staff to go to the feeder schools. They're well over a month, and it's getting increasingly harder and harder to accommodate that just because of the other schools. It's an interruption to their schools and whatnot. The other reason why is the CASP scores are the scores that we've graded on as a school district, and so it should be a focus of ours in terms of system that we use. And so for those and several other reasons, we're hoping to be able to switch that so that we can do it. It will be a little bit later that we get the data and information. And the other thing to think about is 30 days after kids get in school, we map assess them anyway. And so it eliminates the redundancy of doing it twice.
Okay, recommendations for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second? Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 26, set date for the annual organizational meeting. Dr. Willenberg.
So each year, pursuant to board bylaw 9100, the board holds an annual organizational meeting in December to elect officers for the coming year. And we recommend that December 14th, 2022 as the board's annual organizational meeting.
Do I have a motion for approval?
Second.
Are you coming? Comments or questions? Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 27, amended personnel assignment order. Do I have a motion for approval? And it's, all in favor? Opposed?
No.
4-1. Item 28, expulsion 8/22/23.
I make a motion that expulsion case 10/22/23 be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year, be referred to the independent study program to continue their education as set forth in the student's stipulated expulsion agreement and rehabilitation plan dated and executed on November 10th, 2022.
Is there a second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Ray, go back to 8.
Now I gotta find the other one now. Was that number 8?
You said number 10.
I got it. I make a motion that expulsion case number 8/22/23 be expelled for the remainder of the 22-23 school year, be referred to community day school to continue their education.
Is there a second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Item 30, items for next agenda. Any other? Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
Good night, everybody.